Hello and welcome to yourlocalnote.com. My name is Mike Stringer, joined by RJ McKay. It's time again for another featured podcast, and this week we welcome in alternative rock band from Philadelphia, the One2's. And before we get to their song, let me remind you that you can download our free iPhone and Android app just by searching YLN at their stores, and with that, you can stream YLN radio 24/7, playing music exclusive to the Philadelphia area. So without further ado, we have the One2's in studio, and we're going to begin with their first single. It's called Wide Awake, here on yourlocalnote.com. That is Wide Awake. They are the 1-2's, and this is yourlocalnote.com. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome into the studio.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Those of you who are looking at the info below may recognize the name Leiana on Your Local Note because 2.5 years ago, we had you in studio, and now you're back with the 1-2's, this new band. Just tell us about how you guys met and how you guys became a band.
Well, we met by actually two of the band members of the 1-2's actually played in my last band, Leiana, and it kind of just evolved, right? Anyone could just kind of pitch in here if they want to help me out.
A little help.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of was a natural progression to do. Well, actually, the biggest thing was that Sean joined the band, and he was working as we were looking to write some new material, and there were some band member changes. Julia moved to Seattle for a while. And so Leiana just kind of went in weird direction, not really anticipated. And so Sean and I were left kind of thinking of what to do and where to go. And it was his idea, actually, just to be like, because he had his own band on the side. And, well, it's complicated because actually he had his band, and so I joined his band as a bass player. Julia moved back. Well, actually, Julia moved back first. I joined his band as a bass player. And then we were like, you know what? We have Leiana and his band, Big Crowd Popular. Why don't we fold it into one band? And so it's like one band with two lead singers. Well, that's how it's kind of different.
I guess that answers my follow-up question, why the name the 1-2's?
Right here. Yeah, basically the 1-2's was supposed to be Leiana and I's side project because we were still doing our other bands.
Right.
And we wanted to see what we could come up with ourselves. And it kind of was like I was secretly writing songs for Leiana, for that band, but we were having a little turbulence. And we were like, well, we'll just keep these songs for ourselves then, and we'll do this 1-2's thing. And then we just decided to join forces, and it would be a lot easier if we both did one band instead of 3 bands. So
give us a time frame. When was the start of the 1-2's?
About 6 months ago.
Yeah. It's pretty new.
Yeah,
it's really new.
Yeah, and you have the way we got in contact with you. You posted a video for Wide Awake, and so you already have a music video under your belt. We're gonna play 2 more songs from the 1-2's in this podcast. What was your first step? Were you out playing together? Did you just stay in the studio and write? What was your first step as a band with the 1-2's?
Oh, we got a new bass, and Sean wrote a bass part. You wrote "Running Out of Time."
Yeah, I wrote a song that we don't have to play tonight, but
okay, that's fine.
we haven't recorded it.
We recorded it, but we didn't record it. You know, we have a demo version of it. But we started with that, and we started recording on GarageBand with an iPad, and it was very fun. I had alternate lyric takes about Christmas and other things, and. Anyway,
they're shaking their heads right now. Everyone else,
we never heard that.
It was a very dirty version.
It was a dirty Christmas song.
It was dirty,
and
that was the first 1-2's song.
Yeah, we did that. But as far as like some of the Big Crowd Popular songs came over to the 1-2's, and but the thing is, I would sing backups in a falsetto, and now Leiana can sing them falsetto because she's a female, and Julia sings as well. So. And Jay was already playing drums with me, and so he was already hip to what I was putting down stylistically. And then Wide Awake just came out of nowhere. I just was messing around in the studio. I started recording something, and about 2 months later, we were like, yo, let's nail this. We nailed it, and let's start shooting a video. And then we looked into how we're going to shoot this video.
Right. That was the fun part.
The video, huh?
The video was, and I'm not easy to work with when it comes to stuff like that. But everybody.
Gee, no one is disagreeing. I don't jump all in.
Well, it's hard.
I'm just teasing.
It's tough because I have the vision of what I want to see, and then I have to hold the camera.
Okay.
And record everybody, and then I have to have one of them do it, or my friend Megan will help us, or Leiana has shot some of the stuff. Like actually, the guitar solo, I'm actually in a hot tub with a sheet behind me.
Okay.
But you can't tell because the way we shot it. So between that, looking at camera, like just. We're trying to do it ourselves. Everything.
Sure. Everything is.
Yeah, I was going to say, as opposed to like when I came here 2.5 years ago, it was like, a album with a label and all that kind of thing.
Right.
This is totally done by these people here. Like we're doing literally
So how much
everything.
How much fun is that, and how different is that? Do you feel you have more control?
Do we have more control?
Yes.
I would.
We have way more control. We don't have to. We're not bending to anybody. It's what we want to do.
Right.
There's that feeling of, all right, I can create whatever I want. I don't care what other people think of it.
Right.
It's for me. It's for us.
Right.
Do you like it? That's it.
Yeah.
If we like it, that's all that matters, and that's what music and art's supposed to be like. I don't write songs for the masses. I write songs for the people that like music.
Right.
If you like music, you like this, cool. If you don't, then you can go listen to Usher. I don't know.
Hey, you're going to come to a live show. You're going to see our energy, our passion, and then that's going to pull you in. And I think that really gets people to listen to the songs, watch the video.
Okay.
And the live show, it comes through. Yeah, and the video was a lot of fun to make.
Now, Sean, you wrote Wide Awake.
Yes.
By yourself, or did you get input from anybody else in the band, or how did that work out?
I wrote it by myself until the vocal part. Then Leiana had a lot to do with the vocals.
Okay. Is that the way you've been approaching the songs lately, or is it just, you start, or someone else can come in with an idea and then you work with it that way, or do you start everything and then work out that way?
Yeah, I pretty much start everything. But like as far as us writing together, that's coming.
Okay.
It's just the way it has gone so far. I've written everything basically, and then I show them. And then they add their two. It's not like they don't have a part.
Sure.
But it's not at that stage yet. We have come up with stuff together, but we haven't had the amount of time necessary to actually formulate the whole song. I
tell you what, it's incredibly impressive that in 6 months you've got 3 songs already down and gone, well, along with 2 videos. I mean, that's a lot to do in a very short period of time.
Well, we're working on the second video now, but I would say, yeah. I mean, yes, it has been a lot. I mean, to be honest, it's been a lot of work for sure. Also, on top, we record everything ourselves. So
that's what I'm saying. Yes, you're doing it. You're doing everything
mix,
yourself.
Edit, master.
Yeah.
Everything. So yeah, it's been a ton of work. But it's also some of the songs were from his old band.
Right.
So some old ideas have been, come in.
Did you take old ideas and tweak them, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Where Julia and Leiana will be singing more.
Okay.
Parts where I'll lay back. There's actually a song that we're going to be working on soon, which actually got Jay to even join the band with me.
Okay.
Me and Jay go way back. We were in another band together in the mid '90s, and I was trying to get him to join my new band.
Okay.
I was using a drum machine for a while.
Right.
And he heard the one song, and he was like, "I'm in." And
okay.
So here comes we want to start doing this song. And then, we were like, oh, well, maybe Leiana should sing this song.
Okay.
Let's give it a different twist. So that's the whole thing. We have a lot of songs in our back line, but we have a lot of new songs that aren't fully developed yet.
Okay.
And now that we didn't have our own room to really record things how we want them, and now we do. So now we can develop these new songs without just me writing them by myself.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like,
so it's taking a next step in the progression of this band.
We're trying to get there, yes.
Okay.
Because you want everybody's input.
Sure.
I want this to be a band, not
one person and
then here, play this and play that. Like, whatever, because everybody's gifted, and like everybody. Julia writes songs herself. She's released her own albums, recorded her own stuff by herself. Jay's in like 3 or 4 different bands in the past
at any given time.
And he's creative in his own. He like does a lot of our posters, our artwork, our logo. You know, Julia reaches out with the networking, and she has helped Leiana.
She taught
learning.
me bass.
Okay. Nice.
Which I didn't even play up until this band.
All right.
Leiana
Never.
did not play bass. And I was like, well, my songs are that easy. So it was very scary for her coming from a lead vocalist from her background.
Sure.
With having a label before, to take a chance on an idiot like me.
Okay. All right, let's go to song number 2, and then we'll jump back to that.
Okay.
And I want to get your take on how easy or what kind of transition it was going from being the lead to now being part of a band. So let's go to Any Other Time But Now. We'll play it, we'll talk about it, and we'll come back. This is, we're hanging with the One2's. This is yourlocalnote.com, and the song again is Any Other Time But Now.
Feels like the first time, feels like the last time, feels like any other time but now. Feels like suicide, feels like I'm alive, feels like any other way but
That's Any Other Time But Now from the 1-2's. We're hanging with them on yourlocalnote.com. All right, you were talking about how Leiana came in, and I want to know, Leiana, from you, the transition. It was you. The band, everything was you.
It was.
Now you got to share.
Yeah.
How is that transitioning for you? Sometimes is it great? Sometimes is it scary? Sometimes.
I think it's great now because I don't have to do everything.
Okay.
And I actually have people that are competent who can do things around me.
It helped that you knew
honestly,
them too.
This is the first band where it's really been everyone pulls weight.
Right.
That I've been in.
Okay.
You know, at first it was really scary.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it took Sean some talking me into it at first.
Okay.
Because I was used to having my own thing.
And you would have the final say, really.
Yeah. So it was scary, and it was really weird at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then I learned to
share.
I did learn to share, right?
Yeah.
So, and I guess I discovered that the product that comes from it is better than I could have done by myself.
Okay. Because of the strength of everyone.
Yeah.
And it seems to mesh the way you wanted to.
And I can't overemphasize how grateful I am about the people that are here with me, because everyone brings a huge amount to the table here. So it's, and I can't deny that.
Good. That's good. Let's go back to Any Other Time But Now. Sean, is that a song you wrote?
Yeah, that was an accidental song, but yeah.
Okay, explain the accident.
I just started playing the bass, and a lot of songs seem to start with the bass for me for some reason.
Okay.
And I started playing it. I started humming some vocal lines, and I just started tracking it. And then from there, it just grew. And then I brought Leiana in to sing some callbacks and some backup vocals, and it just came together. It was one of them songs that just came together with ease.
And what is it about? Who wrote the lyrics? Is that a combo, or is that you?
I wrote the lyrics. What is it about? It's about not being present.
Okay.
It's about thinking about tomorrow, worrying about tomorrow.
Planning for the future.
Thinking about yesterday.
Okay.
Just being anywhere but right where you're at.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Now, we talked a little bit before we started this, and you mentioned how you're building your own studio. How close to having that complete, or is it completed now, the studio?
Well, I don't think it'll. I don't know. We have to start tracking to see, and start tracking and mixing to see if we need more things. It's pretty much there.
Okay.
We don't have $1 million studio, but we have what it takes to do what we need to do.
But in this day and age, you don't need $1 million studio.
No. Well,
I mean, that's the great thing about technology.
Yeah.
Because the technology has gotten so good that you can do this yourself. And this is probably the fun and scary part of where we are, I think, in music. I think we're transitioning away from the big corporations and away from big record companies and controlling and saying, no, you got to do it this way. We want you to do it that way. And they have all the equipment to make it sound great. Now you guys can do something, and it sounds just as good as a lot of studios.
This is true. It does take a little bit. It does take some learning and some skill to do it yourself, and it does take. I'm not gonna lie. Some equipment's expensive.
Yeah.
To get it, I mean, you can do pretty good work with minimal stuff, but to get it to that sound that's not so digital, you do need a few things. But it's not scary. It's fun. It's not scary at all. The only thing that scares me is the music business, period.
Well, again, we're going through a transition with that.
Yes.
I mean, you're dealing with corporations right now who are trying to figure it out, because we talked about this, and you mentioned you're not doing albums, you're doing singles.
Right.
Because, and I read an article in a trade magazine earlier this week. The album is dead. And it's just the way people are consuming their music right now. And it's, when I was a kid, I bought albums. I still have 4 or 5 crates full of albums, but I don't have a record player anymore.
Yeah, I do. I have the same.
You know, so but kids aren't doing that. They're finding a single and that's what they like, and they put it in their phone.
Yeah, or most YouTube's popular. Even myself, I hear a song I like. First place I go to look for is YouTube. So,
Right.
and then I want to see a live performance of it too.
Right.
You know, people really like that.
So I mean, you know, you're right. It's scary, but I think it's empowering. You guys have more control than you did, and you would know this better, Leiana. You dealt with a record company, so you know how corporate gets, and you know how sometimes frustrating it could get.
Yeah, it just the scary part for me is that yes, you have more control, but I think there's so much more out there. It's how to get the filter through. You know, how to get it heard. That's still an issue for me. That's something I still try to figure out.
Right.
I think it's what everybody's trying to figure out.
Yeah,
when you
exactly.
have 150,000 bands just in Philadelphia, how does your band
Stand out.
stand out? Even if it's a good band, there's a lot of good bands in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have their own unique sound. But how are you going to filter through all the rest of them to get to that? You
Right.
know?
I think frequency has a lot to do with it, and that you have your own studio to record in is a huge advantage that you have. That whenever the inspiration hits you, you can go down there and record and work on music and keep pumping out singles. So my question to you is, what's the plan as far as frequency with the singles? I mean, you already have 3 songs that we can hear tonight. What's your plan moving forward?
What is our plan? Our plan is to
Talking like every couple months.
every
Send a
couple of
single
months
with
put
a
out a
video.
single with a video. That's, you know, I'm like everyone else. I subscribe to the Left Is Letter, and I'm, you know, the trade mags, and everyone's just trying to figure it out. And it's like, you know, some people are pissed off about the internet and how do you filter through. And I think it's gotten to the point of where the old system's dead. Okay, so how do we navigate through this now?
Right.
There's no going back at this point. So how are we going to do it? And it's like, okay, well, put out videos, play, merch, and but none of that's easy.
Right.
You know, it's still difficult. I find it as difficult now to get heard as it did when I was signed, and I didn't have a label putting them. You know, I wasn't an important band. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. But other than the idea was to, just keep releasing songs, the frequency thing that you're talking about, and keep it, you know, consistent, good quality. That's all we can do
Right.
at this point.
So today, do you have a lot of things, a lot of ideas in your head, or do you already have things that you've started to work on? When you're writing music, do you just sit down and say, okay, today I'm going to write the next song, or has inspiration hit you? Just talk about that process.
That's Sean.
Well, inspiration.
So far.
Yeah, so far. But inspiration just hits when it hits.
Mm-hmm.
And it tends to hit at the most inconvenient times. Like when I have
a couple examples.
Well, like when we have to be somewhere. I got 5 minutes, all of a sudden I just happen to pick up the guitar and something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when the phone gets picked up, you hit record, get the idea down, and come back to it. I never know when it's going to hit.
Right.
And I just hope that I'm always near the studio when that happens. That's why we want to have the studio. I like to come up with the idea and record it as soon as it's there, because you don't miss that the original feeling of what you had going on when you wrote the song. After you've practiced it 1,000 times, you know exactly what you want to do. Now it's just this one little thing. You put it in a little box.
Yeah.
But when you write it and record it at the same time, you're in the journey and you're feeling it as you're doing it. And
Right.
even if you make mistakes, even if you sing a little out of key, even if I sing the lyrics or she sings the lyrics that aren't even fully written yet and they don't make any sense, if that emotion is there, then it's perfect to me.
So when you have that feeling, how is it communicating now to 3 others who you said you plan on and you're already starting to just work collaboratively. How is it for you translating that feeling that you start with into a 4-piece song?
How does it translate? I mean, so far when we I've come up with something. I have this little guitar thing that I'm doing or whatever. Everybody jumps in. They jump on the vibe. They feel it. Like, Jay knows what he has to do drum-wise. Like, he just comes in and does his thing. And then Julie is, like, really, really good on the guitar. And she was originally a bass player. You know, I mean, she's been playing guitar on and off, but she was a bass player. And she just knows. That's why these people are perfect in this band, is because we all have a little bit different taste, but all have the same, like, this organic thing happening right now. And we just have to reach that. We just have to have that time together to actually meld it,
right?
You know, into that, not a jam band type of thing, but into that thing that makes it like, all right, cohesive. We're all doing this together,
right?
You know.
I want to get to know all you guys real quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I don't hear much coming out of Julie over there. I can't even see her around this box. But just tell us about your musical background and then a couple influences that you're bringing to the 1-2's.
Okay. Yeah, I did start out as a bassist. I started playing bass when I was about 11. That's it. There was really no rhyme or reason. I kind of fiddled around with a guitar for a little bit, but then bass was... Someone needed a bass player, and I jumped in and I learned how to play. That's all the history there is. So from there, I mean, I've been playing in working bands since I was about 14. I'm 21 now, so that's about 7 years. Some of my biggest influences, I have to say that the Chili Peppers... Flea is an incredible bass player. He's a really great role model too. So, and then definitely Nirvana. Those are probably the two big ones. But I mean, as far as guitar goes, it was kind of like Sean needed a favor, and I learned all of his songs, and now I'm in love with it. So
excellent. You seem to just, somebody wants me to do something. Sure, I'll do that. I'll learn that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're great at it.
Everything works out in the end.
Excellent. Jay, go ahead. Your influences, a little bit about you.
My primary influences are The Cure, The Smiths, R.E.M., Dinosaur Jr.
Yeah.
Me and Sean have a long history going back to our first band, Slouch. So, yeah, with some of the newer stuff, like Sean knows kind of where I'm going to go with things. Mm-hmm. And I've been probably picked up a snare drum, 4th grade lessons, kind of gave it a break for a while, moved to Florida, came back, met up with Sean in high school, and we were hanging out, good friends, and I think like right when I graduated high school, Sean was writing a lot of acoustic stuff. We were sitting around the bonfire, being silly high school kids. And Sean's like, to me and Jack, our old bass player, like, let's get instruments, start a band. And yeah, we were a band for quite a while. And we went our separate ways for a little bit. And I've been in and out of different bands over the years. Do some different stuff nowadays with a few different bands and some session work.
All right. Sean, and what are some influences that you're bringing to the 1-2's?
Influences for me? There's a million of them. Sure. Really. I mean, if I was going to date back to I started with the violin.
Okay.
My grandfather was a music teacher and a conductor, and he played a French horn, and he played on some albums. And so that's one influence. And then just, I guess, punk rock, hip hop. But I'm talking old hip hop, not this whatever's out right now. I'm talking about real ignorant hip hop. And but for a guitar, it was Randy Rhoads and James Hetfield.
Yeah.
Them two. And I couldn't play like them. So, I was really into Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys and, Circle Jerks and bands like that back when I was a skate rat and all that stuff in the late 80s. And then Nirvana comes out, you know, and changes things for everybody. And that was when I realized, hey, this is something I can actually play all the way through. And I could probably sing it. Yeah. So I try. And that's what happened. Like, these bands came out because in the 80s, it was really hard to play that kind of music. I can't do all the stuff. And so those were my influences to get me to the point of being a songwriter. But over the time, it evolves. And this whole thing, these whole new songs are just like coming from a whole different place. Like, I started going back towards different bands that I liked before. And like, I love Sonic Youth. I love My Bloody Valentine. I love, The Cure, just like Jay. And I hated The Cure when I was growing up.
He used to make fun of me in high school for listening to The Cure.
I hated the Smiths. I hated all these other bands. But then it's like I started writing the big crowd popular stuff, and I was like more like David Bowie, Jim Morrison, vocal-ish type of deal. And people were like, oh, you should listen to Joy Division. Oh, let me check that out. Oh, you should listen to the Smiths. Let me check that out. Like, they were starting to be like, oh, you should listen, you know. And I got back into Pixies and all this other stuff that was like really awesome music, and some of it I missed, some of it I had listened to before. So all this new stuff for me is like this melding of 20 years of music, you know?
Got it. All right. And before we go to the third song, Leiana, a few of your influences.
I would have to say, I mean, kind of similar to Sean, it's hard to name just a couple.
Right.
I have there's a couple of singers that I love and I loved as a kid, and I still look up to them, but I can't say they necessarily influence the way I sing or anything. But, you know, like Nina Hagen, I still love. And Penelope Houston, she was in the Avengers. It's a, 70s San Francisco punk band, but I still just loved them. I love them for what they did at the time. And I love the Deftones. I'm a huge Deftones fan. Yeah. I still am. But it's like a combination of listening to music my whole life, right. From my mom listening to, Peggy Lee singing Fever, it's something like that even influences you. So it's like a combination of everything.
Right. Okay, well, let's go to the third song. It's called Alone. It's not released yet. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
I don't even think the other song's released yet.
The other song's not released yet either.
Right,
you get privy to some songs.
Excellent.
You also
Exclusive.
there are also ones that Sean's singing. So
okay.
I'm not on these other than backing.
No, you're singing on this song.
I'm backing.
All right. Well, we'll play the song. We'll come back. We'll talk about the way it was written, what it's about. And we're talking here with the 1-2's. They have a video out and a single called Wide Awake. You're hearing a couple more from that they've just released. They're a brand new band. And this song's called Alone. They are the 1-2's, and this is yourlocalnote.com. That is Alone. They are the 1-2's, and this is yourlocalnote.com. So right away, just tell us about where Alone started and what it's about.
That was a big crowd popular song that Sean wrote.
I thought you were gonna tell them what it was.
I'll tell you what. No,
you can tell them what it's about.
I think it's about you being alone.
I want you to give them your perception. It was a rough time in my life, and Emily, I actually didn't even. I thought the song sucked when I first wrote it. It was like a throwaway because I just wrote a different song right before that, and I was like, this is whatever. I like the other song better, but now it's like one of my favorite songs that I ever wrote, and
it's the one that had a big crowd.
It's a song about like the song's about that impending doom feeling, feeling like shit's not good. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's the
feeling like things aren't going to get better, but coupled that with a little bit of hope, like maybe it'll get all right, But I wrote it at a low point emotionally in life, and I got through whatever I got through. So good. So
whose decision then, since this is only the third song from you guys, whose decision was it for this to be one of the very first songs to give the first impression for this band?
I think it was everybody in the band
wanted
to do it.
Was one of the last big crowd popular songs, which happened at the end when we had a member change up, and it was heading in the direction of the stuff I think the 1-2's you were going in.
Yeah.
So it kind of just mixed.
It's an
was
easy
like
transition.
Yeah, that's like where we were ending up, just with member changes.
Got it.
So it's like, and it's a great song, so we're like, let's keep it.
Got it. Let's just talk about your websites, social media sites that you guys are already on right now.
Oh,
and
everywhere. Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, obviously Facebook, the .com, YouTube. Is the Vimeo up yet?
Yes.
Vimeo. Wow. I think we're working on Spotify. That's coming soon.
Yeah, that entitles. Yeah, we have to
ones.
get into a company to distribute.
It's
stuff.
almost a full-time job just keeping up with that stuff.
Yeah, and that's basically too. Like, a lot of us, we pull our own weight. And,
right.
Julie handles a couple sites, I handle a couple, Leiana does a couple.
Right.
Just linking them up for one to update the other.
Yes.
So you can only update one site, now it'll at least feed two of them,
I mean, it's a project. I mean,
it is.
Mike and I have to divvy up our responsibilities too, and otherwise it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
And because it's overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
So now, how many you've been playing together for? Now you've been playing together for a while, but separately,
right?
In a sense.
Yeah, it's weird. We Julia, Sean, and I played together. Like this time last year, basically, that ended.
Yeah, for about 3 months.
And then Julia started playing with Jay and Sean.
Okay.
And then I joined in with Julia, Jay, and Sean. And then
I love the way this is going.
I got lost after. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so it's been
and her mom married my dad.
But this band has had 2 shows.
But it must
as
feel.
this band.
But it must feel pretty natural to be playing because you've played with each other at one point or another.
We're all thinking dirty thoughts right now.
I didn't mean it that way, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a friendly face on stage. It's weird for me because I'm playing bass and I get to look at, like, I understand Jay's importance other than just as a singer.
Right. Julia, how is Leiana doing?
As a bass player,
Yeah.
you know what? She's doing a great job, I think. And I think that it's great, all of us playing together on stage, because, I don't know, I can tell if someone's getting a little bit iffy about something. We all kind of have each other's back and, a reassuring look or whatever. We all, know each other's body language on stage, which is the best part about everything.
Were you a little bit nervous, Sean, having 2 players who were playing instruments that they didn't really set out to, to play, or Did you just
Not
like the
at
way
all.
it fell into place?
Not at all. I was not nervous one bit. I don't know why that is. Every other band I've been in, I was like, oh my God, I hope he can pull this off. And, no, man, I wasn't. Julia learned the songs. She came back from Seattle. She was at my house within 2 days of coming home.
Right.
And I showed her the songs. She picked them up immediately. Goes to show you how easy they are to play.
Julia's just that good.
No, I mean, she learned the basics of the song.
Okay.
And then it was about okay, we come in and we practice them and, go. But, I have not been nervous about anybody.
Very
at
cool.
all. No.
Let's talk about shows. Where are you guys going to be playing? Where people can catch you?
We're playing at Voltage Lounge.
Yep.
December 13th.
Okay. And when people come to see you, what kind of show can they expect?
I think a really interesting show. That's what is exciting about this band is that there's two singers or lead singers.
Right.
There's actually Julia sings too, so there's three singers.
Three singers.
And then I sing one song and she plays bass. So we trade it. There's some instrument trading,
Okay.
which we need to, we're going to develop that more. But I don't know too many bands that are like that. That everyone kind of is very dynamic.
Right. And not many bands have three people that can sing lead.
I think that's one of the best parts about our shows is that when Sean's writing something and if someone is better suited on bass for a certain song, then we just figure it out that way and we decide that, and then it makes our shows look that much cooler.
Sean, when you're writing songs, do you say, you know what, this is a great song for Leiana, or no, I'll take this, or maybe Julia can take this? I mean, are you in that type mindset right now, or are you I'm just going to write a song?
I start writing it, and I instantly know if it's not for me to sing.
Okay.
There's certain songs where it's a certain key, and I can hear Leiana's voice, like Wide Awake. I was just like, it's not for me to sing.
Okay.
And, the second single you play any other time, but now I was like, I don't know who should sing this, and she heard me singing to it, and she said, that's all you.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, we haven't got to Julia singing lead, but she does sing the harmonies and stuff and callbacks and stuff like that. And I can see in the future that she will have her lead vocal part.
It gives you a lot of versatility.
And her voice is different than mine. It's a different
Right.
texture,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does give us, and that's the thing. We can write whatever. I feel like we could write whatever we want, without any limitations to
give you
anybody's ability.
Gives you unpredictability,
That too.
which is really cool too. And that adds to a band's mystique in the sense that you can't say, well, okay, that's person singing, that's such and such band. You got
Right.
three people who can sing. I mean, that adds a lot to it. It's very cool.
And it can change the content in which we sing about. If
Absolutely.
a man singing one thing, a woman can sing something totally different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Sadly, I have to say this is coming to an end. This has been thoroughly enjoyable. Really appreciate hanging with you guys and talking about your future because it sounds like it's exciting and it sounds very, very cool. So we wish you the best of luck.
Thank
and
you.
we want to see your next video pretty soon. And keep churning out the songs because we want to get them on our site.
Thank you so much.
right,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to wrap up with Nothing Equals You. Leiana, that's your song.
Yeah.
But Sean, you picked to play this. Why did you want us to play this song as the final song?
It's the first song that I heard from Leiana's band when I was auditioning to play guitar for it.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's the first song I learned, and I saw the video for it, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, and that's what made me, I would like to try out.
All right. Very cool. All right. We're wrapping it up here. Guys, thank you so much again. Remember, we'll have a brand new podcast next week. As always, if you want to check out our weekly newsletter, just contact us at contact@yourlocalnote.com. We are streaming 24/7. We got free apps. Go to the app stores and just type in YLN, download it for free, and you can take yourlocalnote.com with you anywhere you go. All right, wrapping it up with Nothing Equals You. The One2's, thank you so much. This is yourlocalnote.com.